Good afternoon, y'all. David Atkins, Target Individual. I'm back. Man, they've been hitting me hard, but I found exercising, and I use a gallon water bag, Ziploc bag. I'll fill it up with water and put it over my head when I'm laying down. And I understand it's only a temporary fix. It does not cut out everything, but it does work a little bit, for me anyway. And the reason I say for me, it works for another friend of mine too, but you never know, because what they'll do is they'll say, "Oh, we seen David recommend this, and you might try it," and they might turn it up to where it can go over the frequency up where it can defeat that bag completely. Then you got me looking bad, like I've recommended something wrong. So anyway, today I'm going to be talking about it's called Voodoo Doll, No Touch Torture Subprograms. Okay, and they're going to be talking about a Satan program a little bit more and some other programs. And this is out of Robert Duncan's Soul Catcher. And I want to know what y'all think, because I have experienced a lot of this stuff. But is it really coming like Robert Duncan says it is or not? I want y'all's opinions. Please put your opinions in the comments below. Anyway, let me get started. I'm going to come with my Bible verse for the day. It's Joel 3:1. I love this verse. He said, "Then afterward I will pour out my spirit upon all mankind. Your sons and daughters shall prophesy, your old man shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions." And then another one from Ezekiel 34:15 through 16, one of my favorites. "I myself will pasture my sheep. I myself will give them rest, says the Lord God. The lost I will seek out, the strayed I will bring back, the injured I will bind up, the sick I will heal, shepherding them rightly." Ezekiel 34:15 through 16. All right, let me get started. Voodoo Doll, No Touch Torture Sub-Programs. The phoenix is rising from the ashes of the empire to construct a more permanent and powerful control system of aristocracy. A friend and madman from Yale reintroduced the Skull and Bones Club during a Harvard-Yale football game, speaking of the downfall of the United States and new unobserved country borders. That's what he said about that. He said, "The phoenix is rising from the ashes of this empire to construct a more permanent and powerful control system of the aristocracy. The CIA recruits heavily from secret societies, final clubs, eating clubs, fraternities, because these kind of psychologies are easily influenced by false pride and importance, making them controllable by their handlers. Dawn of the damned. Not even your God can save you now." An CIA interrogator in Rough Boy before he desecrated the Bible as a breakdown tactic of the subject. And I hate to, my God, the mighty God, awesome God, he can do what he wants. He can do what he wants, no matter. That's just me, my belief in my God. So he can do what he wants. Okay, anyway, 1984, George Orwell, the scene where he tortures his friend Winston. The object of persecution is persecution. Oh yeah, that's where it came from, is that what I just said. It comes from 1984, but it's a book written by George Orwell. The object of persecution is persecution. The object of torture is torture. The object of power is power. We are not content with negative obedience, nor even with the most abject submission. When you finally surrender us, it must be of your own free will. We do not destroy the heretic because he resists us. So long as he resists us, we will never destroy him. Oh, this is the scene from 1984, my bad. We convert him. We capture his inner mind. We reshape him. We burn all evil and all illusion out of him. We bring him over our side, not in appearance, but genuinely heart and soul. We make him one of ourselves before we kill him. Even in the instant of death, we cannot permit any deviation. We make the brain perfect before we blow it out. We shall abolish the orgasm. Our neurologists are at work on it now. There will be no loyalty except loyalty towards the party. There will be no love except the love of Big Brother. There will be no laughter except the laughter of triumph over a defeated enemy. There will be no art, no literature, no science. When we are omnipotent, there will be no need of science. There will be no distinction between beauty and ugliness. There will be no curiosity, no enjoyment of the process of life. All competing pleasures will be destroyed. But always do not forget this, Winston. Always there will be the intoxication of power, constantly increasing and growing subtler. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stomping on a human face forever. Never again will you be capable of ordinary human feeling. Everything will be dead inside you. Never again will you be capable of love or friendship or joy of living or laughter or curiosity or courage or integrity. You will be hollow. We shall squeeze you empty, and then we shall fill you with ourselves. And I'm done. I'm finna get on the information. This is just something he put in here out of 1984, George Orwell, book named 1984. Torture is a strange topic to understand. Trauma-based conditioning can break down the will of any human. Psychologists have stated that every traumatic event weakens the individual for similar future stress. However, that's not always the case. The military has a program called SERE, which gives operatives some experiments of what torture might be like. It's supposed to harden them against torture methods. Stress conditioning techniques can both sensitize or desensitize the subject to stressful events, even such as lying or fight or flight biological responses, so that they can be more logical and effective, or be forced to tell the truth and give up their will to avoid more stress. The integrated system of hardware, software, and techniques is complex. One program called Voodoo doll of the communication weapon system can be classified as worse than lethal because it is a maximum pain and psychological torture weapon which can keep the body it is torturing alive longer than traditional torture methods. The United States and United Kingdom have been working on perfecting maximum pain weapons for decades. And it says cybernetic mind, a hive mind with firewall. And it's got this thing right here. And that's group handlers, right? It says group handlers right there. And then it's got a firewall right there. The dude right there, let's see, firewall. And what it says right there is remote control soldier, Manchurian candidate, interrogation target. Okay. The Satan system, back on this, sound assassination through adaptive networks, includes interfaces to mind viruses, torture programs, and other mind hacking tools. The most unique part of the software system is a program called the Voodoo doll. It allows the user to select, burn, prick, poke, and other sensations to be precisely played into the cortexes of the targets, which will be perceived at a particular spot on their body. The Army released documents showing how they mapped out all these sensory pathways for development of these kinds of torture programs. The user interface for Satan is rarely seen in the commercial world. It is the eye gazer tracker plus voice recognition interface. It requires no keyboard tapping, mouse movement, no touching the screen. Some voice commands are used too, but the voice recognition is not traditional either. The computer interface and code listens to the audio cortex inner voice commands using technology similar to that developed by the Stanford Research Institute, SRI, back in the 1970s. And NASA, research of the pre-vocal motor pathways in the throat then classifies those precognitive vocal intentions into the phonemes, words, and sentences. The cleverisms of these weapon systems are pervasive. The black sciences are named so because they are considered by the general population to produce evil outcomes, and it is a double intender for keeping them at top-level secret classification. Black ops are kept off the financial books of government and away from public scrutiny on the most part. The shadow government is a term used to refer to the Department of Defense and security agents that utilize the dark technologies in their clandestine domestic operations as well as replacement government. If Washington, D.C. gets nuked, most of the communication infrastructures with tens of acres of computers are housed in a semi-secret underground bases in the U.S. and allied territories. But the antenna fields are difficult to hide since they are mostly above ground and occupy many miles for the distributed phase arrays used in large baselines interferometry. It is this system that helped earn the United States the title amongst Arab groups and other nations, the Great Satan. Propaganda and disinformation tactics used within the mass information stream has helped squash this connection from being realized and understood by the common folks. And you know what? I'm putting this out there to see what y'all's opinion are. So I want to know y'all. I think it's possible that they can do all this. So, all right, this is coming out. I don't know why he's quoting it, but he's coming out the Quran. Volume 4, Book 54, number 487, narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's apostle said, "Your ordinary fire is one of 70 parts of the hellfire." Someone asked, "Oh Allah, apostle, this ordinary fire would have been sufficient to torture the unbelievers." Allah's apostle said, "The hellfire has 69 parts more than the ordinary worldly fire. Each part is as hot as this worldly fire." And here he goes back into information. Today's hellfire comes in many forms, from microwave energy, used for burning, type torture, lasers, rug burn, ultrasound, oxidation, rashes from viruses and bacteria, frostbite, chemical burns, radio frequent hypercation, radiation, etc. But use of microwave, active denial of service torture can leave no blister marks if done correctly and keep the subject in internal pain without death. I'm experiencing that as we speak. I've just learned to cope with it. It hurts, it fries, but I can deal with it now because I'm learning how to deal with it. The Satan and Voodoo doll programs have tortures that have no analogy to physical sensory pain by directly inducing strange, new, unpleasant sensations into the target. New kinds of misery and suffering are being developed, often called maximum pain weapons. This is referred to as silent warfare. This is used in silent warfare, interrogations, eugenics programs. Refer to those chapters on directed evolution, eugenics, and menticide in Volume 1. It's difficult to call the current use silent warfare since there's no way for the target to surrender even though that they're part of a war. Mass murder, silent holocaust, genocide are better words to describe it. Several treaties forbid the use of automated weapon systems for this reason. Predator drones and unmanned airplanes have human controllers and are not fully autonomous. This weapon is or can be used without human operators, making it illegal by the Geneva Convention. Torture is illegal too, but countries only abide by treaties when they are in their favor. The automation and scalability of these torture programs has been the goal for the last few decades. Pain recorded from other human beings' misfortunes are recorded and cataloged, then can be played back to the target brain repeatedly. The torture program will lock on to any technique that causes the most suffering and stress and continue playing those entrainments from physical pain to the psychological demeaning and threatening silent sound audio. Automation is another breach of international law and Geneva Conventions. The Predator drone is allowed because it is not fully autonomous and has a controller with a joystick. It is just unmanned. The reasoning is in the Geneva Conventions for not allowing autonomous robot systems in war is there's no way for the robot to recognize when someone surrenders. Similarly, in the U.S. psychic warfare and silent eugenics program, there's no way to surrender as it is practiced. Blinding weapons are also banned, but it does not stop the development of them. The researchers of this book did extensive interview with over 650 people undergoing this kind of experimentation, brainwashing, and assassinations. The collection of torture techniques is impressive. One of the pain signals in the database was recorded from a woman who had severe PMS. Both the emotional discomfort and physical cramping was recorded. Ironically, it turns out to be one of the better tortures on men. It can be used positively to help men be more sympathetic for women who endure this every month. All of human pain, fear, agony have been recorded to be played on the targets. The obvious spreading good human qualities like empathy is not why this system was built. What was interesting to note during this research, this book, is to watch how pain which accidentally inflicted on themselves were spread as a no-touch torture pains on other people in the study. The people didn't know each other or their personal lives while we were observing the flows of new pains to others in the research group. And this is Robert Duncan. If you haven't watched my previous, he wrote a book called Project Soul Catcher. He helped develop all these programs, realized it was being used for wrong, and wrote books about it and exposed it. Okay. And he put side notes, snippets of an interview with Satan. They didn't seem to hide what they were doing. For a few months, they would tell me what kind of pain I was going to feel. I would then feel it, and they would measure the pain level. They said some tortures hurt more when the person knows what's coming. They usually played 3 new ones every day. Then the experiment switched. They would play new pains and ask me what I would call it for their database. Later, they bragged they could transform me into an alcoholic, drug addict, smoker, psychopath, or even a church lady, depending on how they felt on the success of the project. And that was somebody being tested. They tested it out on. Remember from the previous chapter and section, usurping the eye tracking interface controls and their interface character set is based on one at NASA created for Voyager. The purpose is simply because if operators mind melded, the target can see remote view in his mind's eye, the interface, and identify what country is attacking. The interface is a mix of many different language, symbols, and hieroglyphics. And this is a mock-up. Now I'm going to skip that. It ain't important. All right, I'm almost done, y'all. But yeah, my question is, what do y'all think? I think it's possible. I think anything's possible with these guys, and I really think they're doing it and they're using it. Okay, let's see. And this is the last one, and I think, yeah, this is the last one. They're supposed to be, but I must not have turned it off and done. Yeah, this is the last one. All right, this is a stimulated rape sexual humiliation techniques, and this is a sweet young woman of Asian descent described her ordeal in this way. Interviewee, I'll be lying in bed after a day of psychological abuse coupled with physical pains. The pulsing tinnitus and it like a phaser sound will become silent, and then I can hear a man's voice speaking to me. I can feel him on top of me like a ghost. He then violates me over and over while telling me there's no way to stop him. I can actually feel him masturbate. It's difficult to describe. One doesn't have to be too creative to figure out how this trick is done. It is fairly standard practice during brainwashing to create altered personalities through rape of a mind, body, or both. Welcome to the program. We are not allowed to talk about this. Most unfortunately, the psychological industry created a term for people like this, women, like this woman, false memory syndrome. This is merely a play on words and farce to understand. The memories are real, created in real time. They are experiences of false physical events which the brains cannot differentiate from physical reality since the sensory systems have been overridden. These, of course, are real mind crimes and intentional. Some subjects of DOA CIA experimentation actually believe the events were real, not just ghosts, as this woman did. In the past, CIA used alien masks during renditions so to misdirect the hatred as well as satanic cult rituals, obviously named appropriately. People have always wondered why aliens traveled across the galaxy to Earth, just an anal probe abduction subject. This is just a standard way to induce trauma for these behavior modification experiments. On a happier note, review the applications chapter and section on virtual sex in the first volume of this series. Okay, and this is just a mock-up screen. It's important to remember that the actual energy system is not targeting parts of the body, but rather playing the pain sequences into the brain to be experienced exactly the same as real events. So he's saying they have these pains recorded and they can play them in your head and make into the cerebrum and make you feel them. That's why I'm saying, what's y'all's take on it? Can they do it or not? And he gives a chart up here and it shows, and I'm going to read this, what it says right here so y'all know. It says, poke, slap, numb, pinch, freeze, crush, punch, cut, shoot, stab, burn, scrape, impale, squeeze, and then right next to it there's a little box that head, right arm, right leg, left leg, mild, medium, extreme, and so forth. So what I'm saying, what do y'all think? Do you think Robert Duncan, you think that really exists? I mean, I really do. I really think that. So, I mean, we got to understand the technology we know is being used on us. They're 50 years ahead of us. They always stay 50 years ahead of us. And then they will declassify stuff as they go. But anyway, God bless y'all. Please pray for me. I'm getting hit. I will do another video tomorrow. And I don't know what I'll do it on, whatever I'm led to. But God bless y'all. Y'all are in my prayers as well. And I hope y'all have a great day.